Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classical Republican. Today we're talking about Greater Idaho. We're talking about it because everybody else is talking about it, and I live in Idaho, so I should probably make some comments. So, the people who are commenting on it, we've got a bunch of local and national TV stations, CBS Sunday Morning. You've got the Epic Times, which is a right-wing newspaper. You've got you've got TLDR, which is a really good channel. You should, if you want to get some good international news, that's really good. So they're talking about it too, Greater Idaho. And before we begin on what Greater Idaho is, I am wearing my Idaho friggin' cap of liberty, people. Yeah, so you should be wearing one too if you live in Idaho. Why? Because it's on the flag. See? Right here. That's what's on the lady's stick. It's not a spear. It's not a spear. It's a friggin' cap of liberty. Get some. All right. And if you want me to make you one, just send me your head size and I can make you one. Now, Greater Idaho. This is what it looks like. This map is a little bit outdated. Walwa County has voted. They voted not to join Idaho. But all these other counties have, in red, have voted. And why has it got to be red? It's very revolutionary. But they all voted to join. Now, there are some other counties that have joined or that have voted, but they've decided not to join. And it would have been really cool, and I would have been all for this if one of the counties on the coast had voted to join Idaho. So imagine driving all the way through Idaho to get to the Pacific coast. I mean, that's remarkable. I think that's remarkable. But just having a few counties in eastern Idaho vote to join Idaho, not as remarkable. So I got a few issues with this. So you got 11 counties that have voted to join. There were 15 counties that were trying to get it to go. And yeah, so we just got these 11. At least they're contiguous, but I mean, imagine a state boundary with just the red here. Okay, well, I mean, you can do it, but it's not that great. Now, I'm being a little hypocritical there because the people who want to join Idaho are doing it just because they're unhappy with the legislature in Oregon. So they figure that they're all Republicans and they want to join the Republicans in Idaho, and they'll just all be same. No difference between Republicans, right? Well, there are a lot of differences between the way those counties are administered and the way our counties are administered. So I don't like how they're treating states as merely administrative lines. So it shows that they have no state pride. I mean, I guess they're still Americans, even though they're switching states. And I don't like the factionalism, how the factionalism is tearing Oregon apart, Maybe they need some Venetian balloting there. Yes, that would help. Help break down factionalism, bring people together. Now, apparently, it is going to help the counties. There was a report done by this think tank. It's by Claremont, but it was somebody that they outsourced it to a contractor from Points Consulting. It's the economic impact of moving the Oregon-Idaho state border. And in here, it says that the counties will get a lot of what they want, but it doesn't really talk about how good it will be for Idaho. And of course, I guess they didn't, that wasn't the point of it. They didn't really want to convince Idahoans that this was good. I guess they figured Idahoans will just like getting more land, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'll read the executive summary here. It says, for the past 10 years, Idaho has been among the nation's leaders in many measures of progress. The pace of growth started, of course, they're talking about economic progress. The pace of growth started accelerating around 2016 and went into overdrive during the pandemic. During the 24 months of 2020 to 2021, heightened political tensions, tightening restrictions in blue states, and frustrations with the lack of political representation led visitors, relocators, resources, and workers to Idaho in unprecedented droves. In 2022, a contingent of Eastern and Southern Oregonians have displayed an interest in keeping their place of residence, but swapping their political leadership for the Gem State. Points Consulting, through analysis of countless metrics and data sets, led to the following conclusions related to this potential change. Oregon's left-leaning social programs and policies are costly to support. Though these costs may be manageable for the relatively wealthier citizens of Northwest Oregon, the same cannot be assumed for Eastern and Southern Oregon. As members of Idaho, the converting counties would incur fewer costs while also contributing a greater share of tax revenue to their new host state. Northwest Oregon could save $1.2 billion or $363 per person from its annual budget. Meanwhile, so it's good for the remaining Oregon parts. Meanwhile, we estimate that Idaho's current citizens would subsidize its new citizens to the tune of $78 million or $42 an Idahoan. These costs would be mitigated by any number of policy and taxation strategies, such as taxing industrial developments that would not otherwise have materialized in Oregon. A theoretical approach addressed in this report focused on maintaining Oregon's weight mile tax within the converting counties. See, Idaho doesn't do that, so I don't know if the legislature is going to want to do that, which could result in a budget infusion of $288 million that pushes the negative $42 an Idahoan to a positive $63 an Idahoan. Generally speaking, residents in the converting counties would be better off economically. Primary factors include reduced income tax burden, more favorable conditions in key industry sectors, and a more difficult environment for free riders on government services. To cite a few particularly remarkable examples, personal income tax burden would decrease by $1.3 billion, and corporate tax burden would decrease by $226 million. Okay. It goes on talking about the good things. Let's get back to the map. Okay. So there's some other issues. So could this be like another Brexit? I don't know if that would be good. That would be good. Because the UK kind of jumped out of the European Union, not really thinking about certain things like Ireland. So we got other issues like we do taxes differently. And if we don't do taxes the way they said to do taxes in the report, things could go really bad. So I don't know about that. They might not be happy with the way taxes end up in the greater Idaho. And also municipal sovereignty. We really don't do municipal sovereignty well in the state of Idaho. If you have an incorporated city, you still have the state telling you how to do a lot of things, and you can't even tax your citizens the way you want, other than property taxes. And even then, there's very big restrictions on how much, percentage-wise, they can be taxed every year. So, and then the way we get revenue, it's very different than Oregon. So, uh, there's one last issue I want to talk about, and I would be in favor of this if people would want to do this, but we would need to expand the House of Representatives a ton. So we have in Idaho 70 members of the House of Representatives. In Oregon, they only have 60. So these districts, these legislative districts, they can't be easily transferred over, because look at this. In every district, well, and these are 2020 numbers. It's changed slightly since then, because of redistricting. In Idaho, we have about 26,000. It's a lot more now, but probably like 30 or 40,000 per district. Then, and they're probably only counting voters. Anyway, then we have in Oregon a lot more than that. Every district has about 127,000. Okay, that's a lot more. So we would be carving up a lot of these districts into multiple districts. And so we would probably have a very large House of Representatives. But personally, I think having 26,000 is too much. We need to have a House of Representatives more like that of New Hampshire. They have 400 in their House of Representatives, and they have about 3,000 to 5,000 people represented by one legislator. So I think if we don't do something drastic, we're going to lose the democratic element of our Constitution. And the House of Representatives just needs to expand to represent our growing population. It needs to do it anyway. And if we do Greater Idaho, we're going to have to do it a lot more, to a greater degree. So you're not going to convince me that Greater Idaho is a good thing until we have an agreement that representation will grow accordingly. So until next time, long live the Republic.